The Titanic, a dream built to break. It was a ship born from ambition, a gleaming monument to man's conquest over nature, hailed as the greatest marvel of its age. The RMS Titanic was not just another ocean liner. She was unsinkable, they said, a floating palace of steel and dreams, destined to glide through the Atlantic with grandeur and grace. But in the silent chill of an April night, beneath a moonless sky, that very dream would dissolve into the freezing depths of the sea, taking with it over 1,500 lives and leaving behind one of the most haunting tragedies in modern history: the birth of a giant. In the early 1900s, the world was racing forward, new machines, towering cities, global empires. Amid this industrial symphony, Bruce Ismay of the White Star Line envisioned a ship that would redefine travel. Not the fastest, but the largest, most luxurious, and most admired. The result was the Titanic. Built in Belfast at the Harland and Wolff shipyards, it was a floating marvel. 882 feet long, with 10 decks for enormous smokestacks, and the capacity for over 2,200 passengers. It featured swimming pools, Turkish baths, opulent dining rooms, and electric elevators. Wonders few had ever seen at sea. While first-class passengers dined with silver cutlery on 12-course meals, third-class immigrants huddled in narrow bunks below deck. Yet all who boarded felt the same thrill. They were part of something historic. Setting sail. On April 10, 1912, Titanic departed Southampton under clear skies. Crowds gathered as the ship slowly moved out to sea, its horn echoing through the harbor. On board were aristocrats, businessmen, artists, crew members, and hopeful emigrants, all heading west to America. The first few days were smooth. The ship cut through the waves effortlessly, its interiors alive with laughter, music, and the tinkling of champagne glasses. But beneath the glamour, danger stirred quietly. Multiple iceberg warnings crackled across the wireless telegraph room. Nearby ships reported ice fields directly in Titanic's path. Yet the captain, Edward Smith, a veteran mariner, kept course and speed. Why? Perhaps it was pressure. Titanic was a symbol of pride and power. Slowing down was not an option. The ship steamed ahead at 22 knots, slicing the Atlantic with confidence and arrogance. Collision course. April 14th. Night fell. The sky was unusually dark. The sea was still, eerily so, like glass. No waves. No wind. Just silence. At 11:40 p.m., the lookout in the crow's nest saw a shape looming ahead. "Iceberg! Right ahead!" he shouted, ringing the bell 3 times. The bridge reacted instantly. The engines reversed. The wheel turned hard to port. But it was too late. The iceberg scraped Titanic's starboard side, ripping open 5 watertight compartments below the waterline. There was no dramatic explosion, no shudder, just a long, cold gash in the hull. But the damage was fatal. Panic and sacrifice. At first, many passengers didn't grasp the severity. The ship still floated. The music played on. But below, cold seawater surged through steel corridors, swallowing everything in its path. Within an hour, the bow began to dip. The crew knew the truth. Titanic would sink. But there was a problem. Titanic only carried 20 lifeboats, enough for around 1,200 people. Panic set in. Lifeboats were lowered half full. Some men disguised themselves as women to escape. Others, like Benjamin Guggenheim and John Jacob Astor, stayed behind in evening wear, calmly accepting their fate. The band played Nearer, My God, to Thee as the deck tilted steeper. Fathers kissed their children goodbye. Mothers screamed for their husbands. Chaos and courage collided in the icy darkness. The final plunge. By 2:15 a.m., the Titanic's stern rose high into the air. The lights flickered. Screams pierced the night. Then silence. The ship broke in two with a groan that echoed across the sea. The bow disappeared. Moments later, the stern followed. Those left in the water faced a new horror: hypothermia. The temperature was below freezing. Life jackets offered no protection. Within minutes, hundreds fell silent, frozen in place. Rescue and reckoning. At 4:10 a.m., the RMS Carpathia arrived. It picked up the shivering survivors, many of them too weak to speak. Others sobbed uncontrollably, having lost everything. The world was stunned. Headlines screamed, "Titanic sinks. 1,500 dead." Public outcry followed. Investigations were launched. Laws changed. Ships were now required to carry enough lifeboats for all. A 24-hour radio watch was mandated. The International Ice Patrol was formed to monitor the North Atlantic. The ghost beneath the sea. For decades, the Titanic's resting place remained a mystery. It wasn't until 1985 that Dr. Robert Ballard and his team finally located the wreck, 2.5 miles below the surface. What they found was haunting. A ship torn in half, her grand staircase buried in silt, shoes scattered across the ocean floor.